So, good afternoon. We are back. I'm Reverend Jeff Jones, pastor of World Victory Church and Life Center. And we, as you know, are going through our 40 days of renewal. And I believe this is day 33 or 34. Uh, we're doing them every day, and we're barreling closer to Resurrection Sunday. So, this has been a great journey. Today, we're covering Psalm 31. Yesterday, we started with Psalm 31, verses 9 through 11. Today, we're going to do 12 through 14. Now, because of the way the psalm is written, it's difficult to overlap, not to overlap some of the text, but I'll try to keep it as concise as possible. But just to make sure, I may run over into a different verse because we want you to feel the essence of what's going on. So first, let me just tell you this. The purpose of World Victory Church and Life Center is to help people meet God through Jesus Christ, who will help meet all of their needs. We believe that we have to be multicultural, intergenerational. We believe that God has something for everyone. So we believe that worship is important. Fellowship is important. Getting together, mixing and mingling with people with proper protocols, of course. We know that ministry, doing things for others, is important, right? We also know that discipleship, which is what we're doing right now, we're learning of God, is important. And of course, outreach, which is part of why we are broadcasting this on YouTube, and then we post it on Facebook, and then we post it, or we can post it in other places. So that's what we're doing. Let's get back into Psalm 31. All right, here's what you've discovered so far. One, this whole psalm, the essence of the psalm, if you look at verses 9 through around 18, really tell you the power of the entire psalm. But it is a psalm of David. And yesterday, as we were going through 9 through 11, we talked about how the text was illustrating how David was feeling about something. So let me go through the text again, verses 9. I'm going to go all the way to, what are we doing today? We're doing up to 14. So I'm going to go from 9 through 14. Be merciful to me, Lord, for I am in distress. My eyes grow weak with sorrow, my soul and body with grief. My life is consumed by anguish, and my years by groaning. My strength fails because of my affliction, and my bones grow weak. Because of all my enemies, I am the utter contempt of my neighbors, and an object of dread to my closest friends. Those who see me on the street flee from me. I am forgotten as though I were dead. I have become like broken pottery, for I hear many whispering, terror on every side. They conspire against me and plot to take my life. But I trust in you, Lord. I say you are my God. That was 9 through 14. So let's look now at 12 through 14. Okay, now, couple things I want you to point out here, or point out for you is, last time when we were doing Psalm 20, we were talking about looking at the words and what's repeated, right? So in verse 12 it says, I, and 13, I, 13, me, plot to take my life. So David, in these particular verses, starting from 11, is talking about his crisis, the crisis that he's going through. Have you ever been through a crisis? And you know how you feel when you're able to talk about that crisis. I call it to get it off of you, because you have to be able to do that, right? So he says, I am the utter contempt of my neighbors. This is personal. I'm not worried about the neighbors down the street. I'm not concerned about what people are doing with them. This is, I am the utter contempt. And he doesn't want to be. He says that he is an object of dread to my closest friends. Those who see me on the street. So he's in the street, he's out, he's doing what he has to do, but when they see me on the street, they flee from me. Can you imagine someone seeing you on the street and they run from you? Not just walk away, but run. So you see the imagery here in this poetry. He wants you to think big. Imagine this happening. It is a psalm, right? So it's lyric, right? It's a psalm, but imagine this happening, right? He says, I am forgotten as though I were dead. I have become like broken pottery. What do you do with broken pottery? If you can't put broken pottery back together, it gets swept into the trash, right? Now we sing the potter's house, and the potter wants to put you back together again, but we're not talking about that here. He says, I have forgotten as though I were dead. I have become like broken poetry, so many fragments that you can't even be recognized. For I hear many whispering terror on every side. So imagine, one, they're either running from you, but if they're not running, they're whispering terror on every side, terror on every side, terror on every side. Which, by the way, let me give you a pet peeve of mine. This is why I don't really like when people say, here comes trouble. Because what do you mean by that? What does that mean to the people who hear it? Right? Now, I may be a little judgmental right now, but it gets on my nerves because listen to this. He says, for I hear many whispering terror on every side. They conspire against me and plot to take my life. So it's not just terror on every side. There are people who are trying to take David, in this case, to take David out. They're conspiring. They're putting plans together to take his life. But after all of that, after giving the description of his crisis, right, out of feeling like he's abandoned, like a broken pottery, after feeling that he is physically and mentally and he's just sick and ill, after all of that, he still says in verse 14, but I trust in you, Lord. I say, you are my God, right? A few weeks ago, we talked about playing with those words. So he says, I say, you are my God. Watch what happens when we put emphasis on different words. I say, you are my God. Right? He's being specific. I say is coming out of his mouth. We have to deliver this information, confirmation to God, trust in God, different ways. I say, you are my God. I say, you are my God, not some other God. You. Then you can say, you are my God. Not you were my God back then. Not you are my God going in the future, right? Past tense or future tense. He's talking about right now, you are my God. And then you can say, you are my God, my personal God. You're my God. When I need something from you, God, I'm calling on you because you are my God. You said I was a man after your own heart. This is David. You said I was a man after your own heart. And in our context, you, my friends, were made in the image and likeness of God. God is your God. And then you can say, I say, you are my God. And see, and that God is an all-encompassing. It makes you think, wow, what is in this word God? Because when you're in despair, when you're thinking of your enemies and they have utter contempt for you, and you're the object of dread to your closest friends, right? And those who see you want to flee, you need a big God, right? When people have forgotten you as though you were dead, you need a big God. When you say, I have been broken like pottery, you need a big God. So this text, as we're working 12 through 14, of course we had to go over a couple, it should get you to a place of, okay, in Psalm 20, we were being built up for this great journey. But we know that life has peaks and valleys. And so here in 9, when we start with 9, we're starting to go into this valley again. But Lord, when he says in verse 14, but I trust in you, Lord, now we're starting to go up out of the valley. Right, so these are the things I want you to think about as you think about how powerful the Psalms are. So here's what we need to do. Go back to 9 and go all the way up through 14. Do it a couple times so you can get that big picture. We'll be back and we'll tape something else and we're going to do the rest of it, which is 15 through 16, and then I'm going to sum it all up. But go back and read 9 through 14 for right now. Okay, so here's what we say every time. 1, we need you to, if you're on YouTube, we need you to like and subscribe and click that notify bell so that you know when we're broadcasting. If you're in Facebook, go ahead and click share and like and comment so we can spread this information to people about how to really read their Bible and apply it to their lives. But we know life is difficult. Even doing this lesson might be difficult. So we'll say the same benediction every time. In this world, you shall have trials and tribulations, but be of good cheer, for I have overcome the world. Go in peace. Have a lovely rest of the day. Remember, God loves you so very much, and so do we.